So our boat stopped going into forwards gear. Like it would kind of sometimes go in forwards gear, like 80% of the time, but other times it would just sort of slip and not really engage. This made getting in and out of the marina pretty dangerous. We could go backwards pretty well, but we thought we should fix it. And then one day it was even worse, so we thought, okay, let's sort this out. So we tried phoning some places to get some quotes for fixing it, because the gearbox looked like really scary. And they said, $6,000 for a second-hand replacement, or $3,000 or $4,000 for a service. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized it actually probably wasn't that scary. So we ended up managing to fix it for no money at all. We just cut a bit of metal out of a bit of stainless steel from an oven, and sort of used that to squeeze the worn part so that it was less worn, and then so it carried on working. So if anyone has a similar gearbox, you can use this as a handy kind of guide. It's not too bad. The only like really fiddly bits were like it's a little awkward to get out of the engine, and it's a little awkward dealing with these little pins that have springs behind them. But if you know they exist, you can just not deal with them. Just be careful to not let them ping off. So here's our story. Okay, so this is our gearbox down here. We only have really reverse now. So we tried, it wasn't going into forward so well. So we tried changing, you can't really see it, changing this little selector thing so that the cable would kind of send more of a signal, if that makes sense. So we moved the little, there you can see it, we moved the little thing on there up a little bit so that it would wiggle the forwards backwards selector a little bit more. It didn't quite work, or it worked for a little bit but it didn't work, so we need to take this out. This is the back of the boat. This is the prop shaft and the stern gland to stop water coming in. And what I think we need to do, we need to undo this red thing from the gearbox, and then undo the gearbox from the engine. It's these little things up here. But first I gotta get all of this hosing and stuff out of the way. Okay, we got these bolts off from this kind of coupling thing. This side was all imperial and this side is metric. So now we're just gonna mark it just in case it's important where the position is. And then that should be the gearbox separated from the prop shaft. Okay, we managed to get all of these bolts here off. This is so this is all that's holding it on. There's one here left, which is holding it still onto the engine. So now I'm trying to put some wood underneath it so it doesn't put all its weight on the prop shaft, and then hopefully it should come out. So this is the gearbox. This is the part where the motor turns, and then basically it's like all the power goes into these two outer things, and then this inner thing in the middle chooses, like it moves either forwards or backwards. And so these are the plates which connect the middle thing with the outer thing either forwards or backwards. Right now it's engaged into forwards, and you can see that the plates are still a little bit loose. Now that's bad. They're meant to be tight. Now I'm gonna try and pull it into, this is probably kind of neutral, and then this is almost in backwards. So the gear selector thing just moves this middle bit forwards or backwards, and now you can see the forwards plates are all loose and the backwards plates are all squished together, and so it's making the thing turn. This part is working okay, so we had no problem with the reverse gear. Okay, so the gearbox is all open. Basically things just slide on the spindle thing. That's the drive to the engine. They all kind of layer on this like a cake. And the bit that's worn it's a mixture of these clutch plates, which sit and grip the inside. They grip this thing here. And then they are pressed against these plates here, which grip this outer thing. And there's one of those on the forward side and the backward side. Now I think what's worn is this thing kind of pushes all against it to make sure it's engaged, and this looks pretty worn to me. So to compensate for that, because the discs look kind of okay, I'm gonna add extra ones of these into the mix, just so that they're all, so there's more of them. So I made this one and this one. This is a slightly better one in some ways because it actually has the little tabs, but it's slightly worse in other ways because I am not very good at making things. This one I did on the lathe, but the lathe almost went on fire to get this because it's made of stainless steel. Yeah, so I'm going to put it together and see if these pretty sketchy replacement ones work. So I need to warm up this bit, which goes on here next. So I put it in this panini press. You want to set it to as high as possible and then bake it for maybe 20 minutes. So it took quite a lot of pressing back together. It's definitely easy to do if you have one of these presses, but we got it all packed in and put some instant gasket sealant around everything, and it kind of smushed out a little bit. But then put it back in the boat, and it worked great. So yeah, I hope this gives you confidence to do your own gearbox repair. It's not that complicated inside. It looks a bit scary, but it's not too bad. Thanks for watching.